Give her. Oh yeah, I gotta get headphones on.
Yeah, also, you're eating
echoing
on
like
stream.
crazy.
What are you doing, man? Come
At
on.
least I'm not burping this time.
Yes.
I haven't had breakfast, okay?
We're live.
And I didn't burp this time.
I appreciate that. It's been 2 weeks, man.
I-
This is what
I
happens
started-
when you burp.
No. I started a Teams call today. Maybe if some of my coworkers are on right now, they're gonna laugh because I was on a Teams call with and I was the only one there, and it was ringing, and I was like, oh cool. You know when you feel a burp coming and you're
Yeah.
trying to assess whether you can sneak it out before anybody. So I was
Yeah.
like, I got this, and then literally like it went like booding as like the first little glip of the burp started, and of course it was my boss that was the one that joined.
Nice.
And he was laughing, and he's like, "Oh, that's a great way to start a call." I said, "I'm cursed, man. Every time I fucking."
There's worse sounds that can come out at the beginning of a Zoom call.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I've had to set up everything. Last week, I was ready to go live with this. We've got 2 viewers. Not sure if you're one of them.
I'm not.
You're not. Okay.
I should be, but I'm not.
I went live. I was ready to go live, waiting for you, and then I realized I had a whole brand new system. I didn't have OBS installed. I didn't even have Discord installed. And
So you're like scrambling.
yeah,
trying to
I'm
figure out-
waiting for you, and I'm like, oh crap. So I'm installing all this stuff, and then you're like, I can't make it. I'm like, well, son of a. I still need to get my my camera fixed. My goal with these live streams at some point, I'm gonna get a cam link. And I'm going to start using my DSLR as the camera for these.
Or you're gonna become a cam guy? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, cam soda right here, baby. That's my goal. I want to get to that point. However, I also don't like the amount of money to start sinking into that stuff. Is I still have to buy gear, and I still have to get gear to review. So,
Hi, Ms. Ravioli.
oh, Ms. Ravioli, how's it going?
I haven't seen that name in a while.
I know. It's
Welcome back.
Silently stalking in the background. I like it, Ms. Ravioli. Welcome, and actually, the one thing I actually named this live stream. YouTube is taxing us now, and I actually just had my first ever tax payment to the IRS, even though I'm not even an American citizen. Yes, that is right.
You got to fill out that form. There's a form you have to fill out.
I did fill it out. It didn't work. I ended up getting taxed on my income from last month.
Well, yeah, you got to write them because that's a problem.
Well, actually, it's interesting. This is one of the reasons. Hey, J Media, how's it going? Ja Media, Ja Media.
Jamedia.
But I'm guessing it's from the UK or UK. I prefer the ook. I spoke with a tax person in Canada here, and it's not as bad as it looks. The Canadian government basically gives you all the money back at the end of the year.
Nice. Well, yeah,
So-
that makes sense. You can claim it, and then they'll do their thing.
You claim it as literally an expense, and then they go after the JA
IRS.
Media. There we go.
You say, yeah, I got charged by the IRS.
Yeah, but then,
I
the
hate it when
Canadian
they
government does it, and I don't have to worry about it. I love that.
I hate it when that first came out though, because every fucking site that you deal with that does online payments, that's most of which are based out of the States, fucking Bandcamp, freaking PayPal,
Yep.
Discord, or not Discord, DistroKid. I said
Distro, yeah.
Discord. Yeah, everybody sending out these forms. Even I did get an email from Google, and they're like, "Oh well," I'm like, "Well, I'm not even monetized, so I don't really care." But no, it was such a pain in the ass. Plus, I've got to send these people a sheet with my like SIN number on it, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, if it's Google, I mean, they're selling it anyways. They probably already have
they
it.
already have it. Yeah, exactly.
But it's the big problem I had going into this was, well, I only make a certain amount of money. Like I have this amount of money to fold back into the channel. Like every penny I make here is folded back into YouTube. So if YouTube's now taking off 30% for the IRS, that's 30% less content I can make.
Is that how much Americans get taxed?
I don't think so. I think this is just a base.
And then they'll get refunded,
Yeah.
like kind of how we do. Like my work, the company I work for, overtakes taxes, and at the end of every tax season, I get money back.
Yeah, you get a nice big chunk
And
back.
honestly, I kind of prefer that instead of the alternative, which is that every March I owe something, rather than every March I get an extra bonus.
I keep a relative float, I guess, on the channel, so I make sure I have X amount of money in the bank, and that X amount of money should be 3 times more than I would have to pay in taxes. That's just
which makes sense. 30%, you know.
Well, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're not going broke on payday for tax. Like,
you don't want to yank all your.
But at the same time, you can cover it and not miss a beat if it hits the fans. My wife runs her own business as well. She's a midwife, and that's kind of one of those. She's a sole proprietor of a business, so she does her tax at the end of the year. All boils into one. And I guess I'll get a whole bunch of money back now, or I'm gonna try to call them and see if, hey, maybe you're not gonna tax me.
Yeah, well, it's like if there's a way around it, but if you could just skip the step and not have to deal with claiming it and this and that, like that
would be nice. You know, I mean, it's also like I don't want to have to go through the process of going through.
No. I don't like dealing with any tax agency unless I really have to.
Right.
Basically, that one time of the year. Other than that, I never want to see Revenue Canada.
Right.
I never want to see the IRS. Like, get out of here.
JA Media says, I think they only tax you on the money earned in the U.S. They can track views by country. The problem is, though, I don't know how the UK works, but Canada and the U.S. have basically an agreement that there's no double taxation, meaning I can't be taxed twice. More Mrs. Wolf, please. It raises the quality of the show. Thanks, Banks. I appreciate that. All the love. But so the agreement between the U.S. and Canada is that I won't be double taxed, meaning Canada will tax me, and then Canada will send the U.S. money based on. So they do it between themselves. Mm-hmm. So it's just annoying when I'm being taxed by a country and then I have to get all that paperwork and put it over here. I will not be, for my YouTube income, taxed 30% in Canada. By no means. Because I don't make enough on YouTube in order to be taxed 30%.
Oh, yeah, you're underneath that basic income amount.
I'm under $12,000 a year.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I don't make more than $12,000 a year on YouTube.
Well, I mean, $12,000 a year, even just that on YouTube, that's like a lot. That's a lot of YouTube. Like, that's a lot of views on YouTube and lives and super chats.
And it's also like, everything kind of comes from super chats, memberships, which we'll talk about a little bit later on.
I love how you gave me shit for eating on the stream.
I'm crunching on ice. I'm sorry.
I can't see anything. All I can hear is just this ASMR in my head right now.
You like that, eh? I'll get close to the mic next time.
I'll just fall asleep right here.
Amazon Associates is a big one too. So my income stream is diversified. And I would like to diversify it even more beyond YouTube. However, that's a conversation for another day. That's kind of what everyone says is never diversify. Just in make sure you're outside of YouTube as well. And
Entrepreneurship 101.
Website would be one that I want to do. Voiceover is going to be another one. Jan says, I pay 33% tax on my income here in Sweden.
Jesus.
When you look at tax from a Canadian perspective, on average, the average Canadian middle income will pay about 27 to 32%.
Yeah. And that's excluding all the different tax credit things that you have. And
absolutely. Did you see Bark at Obscure Mics pulled apart a Clark preamp and mounted it inside a Franken mic? Oh, that's amazing. That's what I'm gonna do. That kind of.
Well, you're putting a FET head inside.
Yeah, it's a FET head, so it's different.
There's a full on preamp.
What microphone did he use? I would like to see. Maybe I'll go watch the video. Because the SM7B is the one that I don't think a lot of people have done it with, because it's an SM7B and they cost quite a bit of money to replace. So let me know. But anyways, Canadian taxes about 27 to 32. I live in Quebec, so there's an extra 10% added onto that. We also have social programming that like $7 a day daycare, which I don't mind paying into for, families and stuff like that. So we have much better schooling, much better everything than the rest of Ontario, which is a big bonus for us.
Quebec has better schooling than Ontario?
By a mile. Like, okay, so at
shittier healthcare though, so there's a balance.
Yeah, by a mile as well.
Yeah.
My daughter's school, they went out and they bought bikes for they bought enough bikes to cover a class.
That's
so
nuts.
They take like the classes take turns going out on their bikes. It's ridiculous how much.
So you'd
money
see
is
that
that.
you see that in Ontario in a private school, but not in a comprehensive or like a
it's just an English school in Quebec, and they're
Yeah,
like, oh, we're also
yeah.
going to get scooters for everyone. I'm like,
yeah.
that's amazing. He Franken-mic'd it, built it with a $10 crap condenser shell in the cab. So all right, I gotta one up this guy. I've been considering actually doing up like a build your own mic segment, like.
I think you should take a Neve 1073 and try to cram it into a 58. Let's try that. Let's try that project.
Bottom end of that 58 is going to be heavy.
literally heavy.
So I know in Sweden too. Sweden operates a lot like Quebec. Back to Jan there. Sweden operates a lot like Quebec, where I believe you guys have fantastic social programming and social.
Oh yeah, all the countries in that corner kind of do. That's their whole shtick. But as a result, the
it's
taxation.
called humanity. Like, I'm sorry.
Well,
if you know that if your life goes to hell in a handbasket, and that your actual country is going to make sure that you're not living on the streets or your children are well taken care of or whatever, isn't that better than like having the world at your fingertips?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not against socialism because it's socialism. That's what we're talking about. Something social like healthcare, I think is a great thing to have socialized. I think the problem with socialism is you're going to get people abusing it.
Well, but that's the biggest complaint by a lot of people. But then you have countries showing that that's not an issue. That
I'd like to see some metrics that support that theory.
Well, take a look at Netherlands, Sweden, Finland.
Yeah, but I don't have their the government cash flow in front of me. I don't know what the deal is on their citizens. I think that's like I was talking to somebody about the whole socialism communism problem the other day, and the problem is in a small scale it tends to work really well, but on a large scale you're always going to have shitheads.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the
issue.
thing: social programming goes a little bit beyond welfare, as what we call social assistance in Canada.
Yeah, that's
right?
what social assistance is here. In the
Yes.
egalitarian countries, it goes way beyond free. Lots of free stuff, and I definitely agree.
But here's the thing: so from a Quebec perspective, $7 a day daycare is a phenomenal concept that helps out a lot of families, and of course, it's on a sliding scale. Not everybody gets $7 a day, but the people that need it do. And that right there is the first thing that makes me go, okay, maybe it's not so bad. Bang says socialized healthcare, wait lines for cancer treatments longer than the life expectancy of untreated cancers. That is actually not true in Canada. I did have a good friend of mine got cancer while we were in school for broadcast. And he ended up having to wait 3 weeks for treatment to start treatment in a major city center.
Carter, eh?
Yeah. And I remember he started to complain because he was half American too. Like, he had spent a lot of time in the US. He's like, well, if I was in the US, I would just be right in and I would have my treatment right away. And it's like, if you could afford it.
Yeah, if you could afford it. If you could afford thousands
right
and
now,
thousands of dollars.
You are in school. You couldn't afford it. So
I think
he ended up getting cleared of cancer.
Which is awesome. I think the reason why medical issues socialized Medicare doesn't bug me as much as some other socialized is it's really hard to people are generally for the most part out of the control of what is going to happen to you medically. So I think the government being able to cover people to an extent, cover certain things that are going to happen to you.
The medical system in Canada is also rife with people using the system poorly.
Of course
and
it is.
It's actually not the people you think it is. It's the actual medical system.
Oh yeah, it's the people running it.
Yeah,
it's I can think of lots of stories of doctors that are there's one story of a doctor who lived in Toronto and he worked at a clinic in Ottawa. And his shtick was what he would do is he would take a trip to Ottawa once a month, get a bunch of new clients on his roster. Piss off back to Toronto, get paid for all those new clients that he has on his roster. Meanwhile, he never sees them. It's always the medical assistants that are seeing him.
The big one, and this is the one, I mean, outside of this isn't a whistleblower thing or anything, but so doctors in Canada, my wife is a midwife and she can't actually refer clients for certain things. So she can't refer clients outside of her own practice. She has to get a doctor to refer the clients. And that system is in place because doctors charge a fee for referring. So if you say, hey, doc, can you refer me to an ear, nose, and throat guy? Your doctor will get paid a certain amount of money just to like, here's a guy's name.
It's right up there with the pharmaceutical stuff. I said Bangs see the doobly-doo. Bangs watches AOE, AVE a lot. That guy. I love that guy.
Doobly-doo for the mic component.
See the doobly-doo for the thing.
Retro says, holy crap, I made a live stream. How's it going, Retro? Hey, we're going to get off. Let's get off talking about taxation and
socializing.
And let's just, let's avoid socialism in
just
general.
Politics, just no politics.
Yeah, so YouTube doing this, if anyone else is from Canada or UK and this is becoming a problem and you're being taxed, look into whether or not your country has an agreement with the US, and a lot of countries do. In fact, a lot of countries, because double taxation is you shouldn't be taxed twice for the same service.
Obviously not. No.
So find
especially
out.
like fundamentally when you think about it, like I pay taxes to get a certain amount of services in return. That's kind of our business arrangement. I'm not getting American services. Why the hell am I paying taxes to the States anyway? That's another angle to it. It's like, well, obviously I'm paying Canadian taxes, so like, yeah, let's just stick with that.
Yeah. So yeah. We got Dylan going to complain a bit about people treating him poorly in regards to his DAW. Dylan's angry because people.
I'm not angry. I'm just I'm getting a little annoyed because it's like anything else. Like you hear people saying the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, okay, I get it. Like you made your point. Shut up.
So what's the problem here, Dylan? What's going on?
Well, these days there's a trend, and it's a trend that on one hand I understand where people are coming from, but it's a trend of shitting on Pro Tools. That's the trend. Everyone is making videos, it seems, and it's not just today. I mean, it's for a few years now. Different content creators have been cranking out the 10 reasons why Reaper is better than Pro Tools, or 10 reasons why Cubase is better than Pro Tools. And it's like some of them, I will admit, some of them are good points. Like one of them, the guy said, well, Reaper loads faster. It's like, yeah, that's a given. It does. It's like factual. Regardless of your system, it loads quicker. But a lot of them, though, is like one of the guys was saying, is like, well, in Reaper, you can like color your tracks and your clips, and like you can make markers different colors. Like you've been able to do that in Pro Tools for 10 years. When was the last time you used Pro Tools, you idiot? Like there were some of them that's like Pro Tools does this thing. But at the same time, like a lot of the questions that come up. Like I saw, what was it, buddy boy there, Glenn Fricker and SMG. He was talking about it, and he just obviously went on one of his metal rants. And he was like, why the hell is this an industry standard still? It's a piece of shit. It's like, look, people don't pick industry standards by closing their eyes and pulling a piece of paper out of a hat. That's not how something becomes an industry standard. Pro Tools became an industry standard because it was reliable. Yes, it required special hardware. Now, has Pro Tools gotten less reliable now that it uses everybody's hardware? A little bit. They've fixed a lot of that in recent updates, and they've been cranking out the Pro Tools game. I'm not an Avid fanboy. Avid makes a lot of stupid decisions, mostly on their hardware side. Their software side, there's still a little bit. But one argument that I'd like to talk about is that a lot of the people brought up is that it was revealed by a developer that Pro Tools still has code in it, source code, that is PowerPC framework from like 15 years ago. That's a bit of a flag. It's like, okay, you guys have been updating your software and rewriting the engine. Actually, no, Pro Tools was not first to market. Media Composer, Avid's other product, was first to market, but there were several products that were around. Cool Edit was around before Pro Tools, I believe. Soundscape, I think, also might have been, or it may have come around about the same time. But there are a few more archaic DAWs that came to market that people were using in the early 90s that on SCSI systems and stuff that were before Pro Tools. But Pro Tools, the reason why, and I actually talked to somebody from Avid about this, the reason why they still have old code in Pro Tools and the reason why they haven't completely rewritten it, or why Avid doesn't just purchase Reaper and just like, oh, it's a better software, is because if they rewrite the software the way the guy was explaining it to me, they'd have to completely rewrite their file architecture.
Yeah.
And Pro Tools, because of the professional nature of the fact that there are studios with masters that are in PTF format, in PTS and PTX format, they have to maintain some backwards compatibility for these formats. They have to. which I totally get. I didn't understand it at first, but when the guy paced it out and was like, we don't want to keep it this way. If we could just start from the ground up, building a much more robust and streamlined software, we would. But unfortunately, we'd have to come up with a whole new file structure, and that is not going to work. There are studios that are really, and honestly, Pro Tools is Avid's main revenue generator for Pro Tools is the major recording studios. So they're going to pay attention to what they need more than they're going to pay attention to what like Andrew needs. Aiden.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'm caught between chat and trying to figure out if I've got a link somewhere in chat, but I don't. Even though I go to live chat, all that stuff, no approval for.
So I guess finishing off that point with a sort of a conclusive statement, there are other DAWs that are great. I don't use Reaper, but I'm debating it. It's $60. Like, I just kind of want to try it, just to see, as maybe if nothing more than just as a backup, because I can use all of my VST plugins with it. There are lots of great DAWs out there. Just like Mac versus PC, there's going to be people that tell you that PC's better. There's going to be people that tell you that Mac's better. Use whatever you want to use. Use whatever makes sense. Use whatever financially works and what has the workflow that you like. I like the fact, this is going to sound stupid, I like the fact that Pro Tools doesn't have customizable shortcuts. That appeals to me because I know when I go into somebody else's studio, their system is going to be exactly the same. I'm going to hit, Control Alt B and it's going to render. That's everybody's system's going to do that. With Adobe, with Adobe, I go into somebody else's studio and half their keyboard keys don't work. I'm like, what the hell? How do you have this rigged up? So yeah, there's parts of it that I like, but that's preference. If somebody uses Cubase or Nuendo, I used to use Nuendo. I swear by those things. I used to, and anyone that wants to use, I'm not an elitist when it comes to software or hardware for that matter. Use whatever works for you.
What I find fascinating about that, sorry, Bangs, I don't actually see a link. However, send me an email at my at the email address I posted there, and I would like to chat with you about a couple things. So, if you are used to a DAW, whether it's Audacity, whether it's Pro Tools, Audition, any of those, and they suit your need, it's the best one for you at that time. I prefer Logic over Pro Tools because I use Logic more than I've used Pro Tools. Haven't used Pro Tools in years.
Well, that's it. It's people often think about it, okay, the objective feature set of, okay, what does this have flat out versus what that has? But another factor is a tool in general, any tool, increases in value the more familiar you are with it.
Yep.
I'm super familiar with Pro Tools. I have many tens of thousands of hours in Pro Tools over the last many years. So I know that software like the back of my hand. Does it occasionally crash? Like maybe 2% of the time? Yes, there are occasional issues that crop up, most of which are just due to the fact I'm on a 10-year-old system.
Yes.
That honestly, I haven't had Pro Tools genuinely spit out an error in a very long time. Like one of those stupid 4-digit codes that everybody complains about. That I have had them in the past, so I know that they're not BS. But my
also,
system is
and this is what gets me. So there's certain DAWs that are considered synonymous with different things. So, for example, there's one for journalists. You have one for broadcast.
I hate that one. That one I can't understand at all. This workflow is so backwards. What the hell?
But that's also the beauty of it is if you get used to the workflow on whatever, and it works for you, and you don't need to, if you need to cut an album and you're trying to use Adobe Audition.
People have done it. People have done it.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to do it. I've tried. But it's kind of it's the same. It's not just with DAWs. It's even with NLEs. Have you tried using Media Composer versus Premiere Pro?
I've got a buddy, actually Mr. F, MR3FF, who's he just went through film and whatever through college, and that's what they learned on was Avid, and he said, dude, it's completely it's not as user friendly as anything.
Because the thing is similar to Pro Tools, and it's funny because Pro Tools and Media Composer, they're owned by the same company now, but they were started by completely different companies, not related in any way. They're both designed to resemble their analog counterparts as far as workflow. Pro Tools has a mixer and it has a tape machine, and they're separate from each other. You do the splicing. There are some DAWs where they're kind of integrated into the same space. And it's like, well, that's not really. So Media Composer is the same way. Media Composer is designed in the same workflow that the old Steinbeck editing machines used to work. And because of that, it's got kind of the, the mark in point, mark out point, splice, all of those things, whereas Premiere is a little bit more contemporary.
Intuitive.
And the same with Audition. Like Audition and Premiere, and I think part of the benefit of those two softwares, anything Adobe really, as much as I hate Adobe, they have one thing right, which is that it's really you can personalize it. I was going to try to finish that word. But same with Cubase. Cubase is quite flexible as well. Not as much as Adobe. Again, I think that's a pro and a con. Like I was saying before, is if you're in a professional environment bouncing from place to place, it's a pain in the ass.
I jumped onto someone else's Premiere Pro and I was like, I don't know how to use this. Like,
yeah, like the videos down here and the timeline's like, what?
Like, I wanted to get adventurous and put my actual preview up on another monitor, and I'm like,
oh man. Yeah, I saw that. That was one thing when I was using Premiere. Like, I was in a DVD authoring studio once, and they had Premiere spread across 4 monitors in like a quad arrangement. And it was the most confusing thing I'd ever seen.
My goal would be to get my ultra wide, my 34-inch ultra wide that I use right now, as just the timeline, and then on top of that have the video or the preview, and then on either side have like the settings and stuff like that. 2 lengthwise monitors side by side with all the settings. Oh, that would just be. I would die and go to heaven if I had that.
Well, I remember when I was at this authoring studio, they had one monitor dedicated to the bins, to the file, sort of the project window.
Yeah.
An entire 1080p screen just for that.
I've never, and this is like, I watch a lot of other creators using video. By the way, we're going to get to chat. Just give me a couple seconds here. I've watched a lot of other creators, and they're making new bins, and they're the kind of content that I do, because I do A-roll, B-roll.
Yeah.
And I do generally continuous shot B-roll because I shoot it all at once. So I don't turn my camera off and on again. So I have one file for B-roll, one file for A-roll, audio, and that's it.
And that's it. Yeah, I
putting a
normally
bin out
do that.
is ridiculous.
I normally do that. The 2 instances where I tend to use bins a lot in Premiere is one, I do have a project, ProTools lingo. I have a project in Premiere that's just called General Production, and I use it for social media stuff so that I have, like, if I really quickly need to just get a video out and I don't want to sit there and make a project, and I have all of the different videos live inside a bin.
Yeah. All right.
And then I was just one last. So the other time when I use it is in the case of music videos where I've got like 30 different shots.
Nice.
And I need some way to organize them, like, okay, these are the shots of that particular set. This is the shot of that set. These are the shots from that set. And just a way, because otherwise trying to find stuff, and I name things pretty efficiently, and even still, sometimes trying to sift through and find the right cut of a piece of footage is like a pain in the ass.
Frank Triggs, welcome. I don't think I've ever seen your name, Frank. Hopefully you haven't left by now. Says Cakewalk Pro Audio. Cakewalk was the very first DAW I ever used playing around with MIDI pianos back in 1994. And the last time I looked at Cakewalk, it hadn't changed much. So I was like, nah, I'm okay. I hear that it's still free and it's still a great program. So amazing.
Yep. I would, if anyone wants to start out with a good DAW, I'd say that's a pretty good contender, especially for the fact that there's a nil price point.
Yeah, it's a nil price point, but it's also got years behind it. And from what I hear, they have updated it. I think there's a paid version as well. I'm not exactly, don't quote me on that, but Frank also says Cubase was probably the first. It was on Old Macs and Studios back in the 90s. Before that, actually.
Yeah, there was.
Or was it after? eMagic Logic, it was called. Not Logic, it was.
eMagic.
Yeah, eMagic Logic was.
Everyone just calls it eMagic.
I just still to this day remember that because I recorded a song with a buddy of mine on that, and it must have been 89 or 90, maybe. So I think that was probably before Cubase.
Yeah, that Cubase is, and I don't knock Cubase because it is a good software. I used it right before I jumped on the Pro Tools bandwagon, a good number of years ago, and it's equally as capable. It's a little more angled towards the musical people, obviously, and towards like people that are creators rather than Pro Tools is definitely optimized for engineers, people that have a very technical workflow. Pro Tools is definitely angled at that. So if you're not a technical person, Don't spend a stupid amount of money and get Pro Tools.
And somebody brought up a point. We're sick of having to pay for this. And the one thing that comes from the paid versions of things, like whether it's Adobe, Pro Tools, it's support, but it's also for the fleshing out of the product. So Adobe is super simple to use. It's got a very intuitive design. It kind of corners the market on kind of quick, easy, done broadcast style, setting up interviews, doing multi-track very easily, drag and drop. And you pay for that because that's what they've developed with the money that they make off you. They've had developers working on Adobe products for years, and that's what you're getting, more refinement in the product.
Well, yeah, because you're investing into it, so they have a reason to make you happy, basically, because you're paying their salary.
Yeah.
Essentially. And I've seen that, like, recently, at work, we signed up for a SaaS application, like a sort of project management IMIT type tool, and we're paying a hefty amount of like money for the enterprise license for that. So they're incentivized to give us what we want, because we're without divulging them, we're paying them a lot of money to make this work. So that we can kind of use that to our advantage. Whereas if we were using the same platform, which is available for free at just a limited capacity, if we ask them to do something and change something and add something to their tool, they're not going to do it.
Well, it's like right now we're using for our audio, we're using CleanFeed.
Yep.
And CleanFeed has a lot of, first of all, it sounds like outside of the outside sound in your room, it sounds very good quality. And if we were to record,
CleanFeed is perfect. I've used CleanFeed for remote recording all the time, and nobody can tell the difference.
No. And if we were to go up to the paid version, you would get multi-track. You'd be able to save your files directly to CleanFeed. So the paid versions do actually have reason behind them.
And it's worth it. I don't pay for I don't use CleanFeed enough to merit paying for those features, because I probably wouldn't use them more than like once a month, which doesn't justify the cost. But I think that the features that are there are totally worth the money.
Oh, and I think it's $20 a month.
Yeah, it's not even that much. Like, if I were to get a sort of a IPDTL, which is sort of CleanFeed's other paid competitor, among that costs $50 a month.
Right.
So like CleanFeed, man, all the way.
Yeah, and what the great thing about CleanFeed is you can use it through a cell phone. You can actually
the paid version, because there's no gain control on it.
Well, it's also gain control, the control for the audio control in general. So if someone is not using headphones, blah blah, which sounds like trash.
Oh well, if that's the case, I usually just mute myself. And then problem solved while they're like, I've got to record clients over CleanFeed, and the problem is always it's never they're echoing, because I just get, if I'm on with a rep or something, I'll just get both of us to mute ourselves while they're doing a take. But the issue is always, especially on iPhones, it seems to be on iPhones, not on earbuds, but on the actual iPhone mic, is stupid sensitive.
Yeah.
I've had it before where I've got to do like a hard sell spot, and they've got to hold the phone like at a full arm's length away, and they've got to be like reading it like, come on, get a Chevrolet. Like, it's crazy how sensitive.
So when getting back to DAWs, the idea that you're going to pay for something if you're not making money is ridiculous. Yep. If you don't make money at your audio when you're recording, you really shouldn't be paying money out the other side.
Well,
if you are,
that depends, because if it's a hobby, I mean, everybody has to pay for hobbies. Hobbies aren't free.
Well, yes,
so I
absolutely.
think you don't pay a subscription. That's the key. If you have to pay a lump sum, like, again, if you got to pay $60 for Reaper, pay $60 for Reaper. Like, even if you're not making money from it, it's worth it, because Reaper actually is quite customizable and easy to use. But don't pay Pro Tools' perpetual monthly license, or Adobe's $25-$30 a month. Don't do that. That's not.
I have
not
the
a good
full
idea.
thing. The full thing for me costs $64 a month.
Yeah, but you make money from it too. Like, it's your business. So.
But that's also why when people like, why would you pay for Adobe? Well, because I make money with it, and the workflow
and you can
for me
afford
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah, if you've got consistent income from something, you can afford to write off some of that income as upkeep expenses for things like subscription costs.
Bang says, okay, actually, before we get to Bangs, Cakewalk is free. Bangs also requested that I remove them from mod powers.
The wrench, yeah.
Apparently, Bangs is incredibly untrustworthy, which that's disappointing.
Well, we know that.
Well, no, I would have figured Bangs would have used the wrench for only good. Cakewalk is free now with a path to the new version product. Cakewalk.com, and the upgrade is another name. Forget. BandLab. I can't remember either. Cakewalk is fantastic though. Frank, in the old days, Cubase on Mac was the best because of it having native ASIO. Yeah, it wasn't quite like ASIO. It had the ability to record
core audio.
Yeah,
core audio, and using the I don't know when Apple introduced aggregate devices, but that was a game changer for the core audio system. Was the fact that you could plug in multiple interfaces and use them together without something stupid like ASIO for all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Frank Trigg's Mac doesn't have ASIO per se.
Yeah, it's core audio.
I understand Squadcast is better than CleanFeed as they have solved the time sync issues. I don't actually. So I use CleanFeed to broadcast a morning show. I don't, on the Pro version, have any problems with sync issues on the Pro version. I don't pay for the Pro version. It's
even on the free version. I've actually had jams with people over CleanFeed, and there are obviously some slight discrepancies. Internet, you can't avoid it, but we could still actually like play together on CleanFeed. It's I was actually impressed because something like Skype or Teams or something that has like a 500 millisecond delay minimum. It's like, oh god.
Yeah, well, and I know like I think Squadcast is one of the ones that records locally. And so if you record, you get everything timed. That's why the sync up is fine.
Yeah, I want to try that with CleanFeed actually because I'm curious to see what the issues would be.
But you can also do the same thing with you record locally with CleanFeed.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So, but I don't know if there's any sync issues with that. There might be. They might have that alignment problem.
There's no issues doing a live morning show, like zero. So,
well, again, there wouldn't be like a noticeable, but like, are you gonna have a choir of 12 people on Squadcast?
Yeah, no, that's
CleanFeed being able to sync.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a differential there.
Yeah, I gotta say though, I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard about it until just now, but I love the name Squadcast. That's an example of a really witty name for
Squadcast, Riverside. A lot of them are like they're all kind of doing the same thing and doing it really well. Like I like Riverside FM is quite good.
Yeah, the name is a little weird though.
Whatever. I think it's reference to their country. They're Norwegian, I think, something like that. And I've worked with them, and I can't remember what country they're from. $60 for Reaper gets you the current 6X version and the 7X version when it ships, 2 full versions. I need to get more into Reaper. Time is part of the issue.
Oh yeah, always.
I know a lot of guys like Mike Delgadio. I mean, lives and dies by Reaper for voiceover. It's something that I do want to try playing with. It just, once again, it's time. It's like everything else though. Once you get the workflow down, it's going to be fine. It's not going to be a problem whatsoever. There's no good or bad as long as it does everything you need it to do. Yeah. Zencaster also says they've solved the sync issue. The sync issues are stitching 2 tracks together.
Yeah, of course.
I've heard nothing but complaints from Riverside. I haven't heard too many complaints.
I don't remember why, but around the time that you did the review, I somehow developed a negative opinion of them, and I forget what the reason was. But in my head, I just know that, yeah, whenever, for some reason, I have a derogatory view, I just don't remember why.
See, and my experience wasn't a bad one. I've used it several times, and I've never had any negative things. I have heard rumors of some of the how do you say, the customer service being an issue.
Yeah,
and like I never had to deal with that. I made the money. I don't make residual money on that video, so I don't really care. But if I see negative impacts, I would love to hear some of that and like kind of go over all of the. I would like to do a video going over all of the pro programs for all of the options to see which one is kind of like the king. But I mean, that's a lot of time and a whole whack of money. And I don't think they're going to give me a free month to go and explore. So, which is Disappointing.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Some of them might. Like if you reached out to Clean Feed, because I mean we kind of they're almost an involuntary sponsor of this stream because we use them all the time.
Who's that? Say that again.
Clean Feed.
Yeah.
So
Brought
if you
to
approach
by
them,
Clean
if you approach them, we're like, hey, we'll do a bid on you guys if you let one of us. Well, you already have a pro membership, so that would not work.
Well, no, but I don't actually own the pro membership. It's by the station that I work for, right? So, Retro Gaming Bygone says,
here we go.
Aiden, what is your electric guitar rig going to look like when you add it to your mic tests?
Here we go.
So, just looked it up. Paul Reed Smith standard.
Loving the PRS. Loving the PRS.
PRS 24. I think the 24 standard 24, whatever they call it. It's about a $2,400 guitar, $19.99 US, which is going to be kind of middle of the road, nice and
it's going to be a solid instrument. That's
and
for sure.
then probably, I don't know, Mesa, maybe a Mesa, probably just a combo, Mesa combo, 100-watt Mesa combo, something that can blow the doors off this house. But I could probably play a club.
Get a nice big boogie or something.
What? Okay, so did Mesa Boogie separate? Because I've seen some apps saying Mesa, some saying Boogie.
They have a separate logo. I don't know now. I don't keep tabs on. I love their stuff. I just don't keep tabs on them as a company.
Yeah,
so
I was walking through a store today and I'm like, oh, Mesa. Then I look down. I'm like, oh, Boogie.
Boogie.
Wait,
yeah.
Mesa,
yeah.
Boogie. What
Boogie,
the hell?
Yeah.
So,
No, they may have done I know there's a couple of companies that have done that. They've actually started to try and brand a specific line of products as their own thing, but it's still owned by. It's just sort of a subsidiary now.
But if one is kind of the lesser of the other, and that's what I'm worried about, one's the Pentium, one's the Celeron, that's what I don't want to see.
Yeah. Or one's a Epiphone to Gibson, right?
Yeah.
They're owned by the same company, but one's clearly not at the par.
It's very consistent from a lot of people having bad experiences in clutch moments, failing entirely and having to get another solution quickly for podcast interviews. That sucks. If that's the problem, no, that's bad. Oh, it didn't fit with retro. Sorry, Retro Gaming. So that's going to be my go-to. I have my Ibanez acoustic going in to be reworked. It's going to be taken in and they're going to try to clean up, get rid of all the buzzes. If that doesn't work, I'm going to be getting a Martin. Probably mid-range, like maybe $2,000.
Oh, you're not getting the D14?
No. But because I'm not trying to get across uber excellence in the guitar, I just want a nice clean sound coming out of a bloody guitar. And
even then, I've personally found the D14 to be a little muddy. Even though, I know there's going to be so many people hate me for saying that, but I like swingy guitars. I like the swing.
I will share Dylan's address after the show just in case.
Yeah.
I do have to say, my Ibanez, I love the sound of it. I don't love the buzzing. I love the core sound coming out of that guitar.
Ibanez is such a weird company in that
it's a 1974 though.
I do own an Ibanez, and I have to say, of all the instruments that I have, and I have some pretty expensive instruments, that's one of the cheaper ones. And as far as bang for dollar, you can't beat that.
Well, and
you can't beat it.
It's almost a 50-year-old guitar.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been worked on. It's never had anything done to it. The body's in fine condition.
It's just got a little bit of buzzing. Yeah, every guitar has that. You get a $10,000 Taylor, and after X number of years, it's going to get buzzing.
Well, and that's what I want. I want to have the because it goes out of tune quickly. Because the pegs, somebody replaced the pegs with different sized pegs on the back.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. And this wasn't always my guitar. This was my stepfather's guitar. So that's going to be changed out, and plus I want to get the tuners changed out for something that's not 1974 Ibanez, because this was
something with a decent gear ratio.
Yeah, this wasn't a high-end Ibanez in its day, but I mean it's aged really well, and they sell really well on the used market.
Bangs, funny fucker over here, funny fucker.
All right. Okay, so let's go back up here. Riverside and Welder video and audio local recording. Getwelder.com. All right. I'll look at that. I need an affordable portable audio interface for my laptop. Any recommendations for guitar rig use?
That's really fun to say. Affordable portable.
Affordable portable audio.
I love that.
Affordable portable audio. That right there is a YouTube channel.
Yeah, it totally is.
For guitar rig use, okay, Dylan, what would be your go-to for a guitar rig interface for
Does a Scarlett have a? You need an
Yes.
interface with high impedance input.
Yes, the Scarlett
that's a
does.
given. You cannot plug an electric guitar into a line input or a mic input. That will not work.
No.
You need a high impedance input. I mean, it will work, but
Most
the
do.
signal to noise ratio is going to be garbage.
Most do, though.
Most do, it's true. Some of the really cheap ones that a lot of people are looking at, like some of the Behringers, don't.
Bang says mix pre, but I don't know. That's kind of expensive for mix pre.
Yeah,
if you want affordable.
if you're looking for a quick, rig to get like because you also want to save some money for some kind of a good amp sim as well. If you're plugging it into your computer, you're not just going to use your raw guitar sound. It's going to sound woody and
What about an
garbagey.
H5 or H6?
Yeah, that could be a
That's
good option.
ultimate portability.
Yeah, that could be a good option, and again, it's useful for other things too. So you kind of get get a little toolkit there.
Scarlett solos are fine too, and they're
but
small as hell.
the H5 doesn't have high impedance inputs though.
Yes, it does.
What do you mean?
Yes,
It has line inputs. Does not
no,
have
these
high
are high
impedance
impedance.
inputs.
I'm almost positive they are.
I don't know why they would be. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put a portable recorder with a DI capabilities on it. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, actually, if I'm wrong, strike me down. Well, don't.
All right.
Please,
No, I
actually.
don't
got a
like
good
doing
thing
it, but
going.
I'm genuinely curious because if it does, that's pretty amazing.
Okay. Retro, nice. The Mesa Boogie Electrodyne is brilliant. So the big issue I'm having right now with sourcing guitar, amp, and setup, because I've got $5K to spend, is a lot of the stores here with our lockdown. A lot of our stores here basically emptied everything out, and they weren't getting shipments because nobody was coming to the store. So buying guitars wholesale, bringing them, putting them up so nobody can play them. So I walked in through the one, and they were just starting to get kind of reloaded back up. I saw one PRS archtop with the F-holes, the nice semi-hollow. I thought about it for a bit, but then I'm like, nah, I'll wait. But they were all completely out of amps and completely out of everything, so I think it's going to be a bit of a wait to get that stuff in. And they said they're getting back on their feet, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Frank.
Yeah, I'm reading. I'm on the Zoom white paper
All right.
for the H5.
It's a big book. It's no high Z?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't mention any impedance matching or any impedance statistics at all, which means that there's no high Z.
That sucks. Frank Triggs, my apologies for leading you astray. Go with the Solo. The Solo is also very, it's very portable. It fits in the palm of your hand. And
Oh
it's
God, is
actually,
it ever so? Oh
it's
my God,
a great little interface.
it is. My boss bought one and he couldn't figure out how to use it, so he brought it over here for me, and I wanted to keep it. I was like, this is so cute.
I'm actually getting a Solo for my second setup. So
Plus, you can use it with your smartphone, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
You can use it as a mobile interface. That's so cool.
it's very cool. If you want to record on the go, there you go.
Well, or if you want to record, so here's a use case. So if you're recording social media videos on your phone and you want to plug in a mic to get audio instead of something built into the phone, you can use that.
And
that's
that will
awesome.
give you some fantastic audio.
Yep.
Frank says, I love my 1989 Fender Strat Deluxe. Just got an ebony board fitted with custom mother of pearl and abalone inlay at 12th.
Abalone.
That
That's sexy.
sounds delightful. 1989 Fender Strat. That thing's probably sounded sweet.
Very juicy.
Retro Gaming, same company, different era products. The Mark Series amps carry the Boogie name. Everything else gets Mesa Engineering. I own a Martin D18, so different era products. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent at the moment. I'll change, I'm sure, but
Martin D18, how much is that thing worth?
I don't know.
That's got to be pricey.
It's a Martin, so it'll be worth a lot anyway.
Yeah, Martin's.
The D14's kind of the go-to.
Dogs. Oh, my family's home. Never mind.
I don't, because again, like with the Taylor lineup, it's a very predictable naming scheme. They've, the higher the number, the more expensive the guitar. Basically.
C214 is cheap. Yeah, you know that.
Yeah.
I have an old 1970s Ibanez Archtop. Yeah, Ibanez's guitars in the 70s were hit and miss. They were still kind of coming onto their own. The guitar I have is actually one that has become a bit of a cult classic. I think it was the first of its kind from Ibanez. I don't even remember the bloody model name. I'd have to pull it over here, and I'm not going to do that. But it's one of those guitars that I've kind of had on and off. I left with my stepfather for a while and got it back. So it's one of those, see how much I can put into it before I end up having to just kind of retire it to the corner. I really want to use it. It's such a gorgeous sounding guitar. It sounds old, and that's what I love about it.
Oh yeah, it's got a vintagey kind of a tone.
Retro Scarlet Solos are just fine. There you go. Frank, I was looking at a Behringer Euphoria UMC 202 HD, only 62 pounds. Yeah, I haven't heard anybody complain about the Euphoria UMC 202 HD. I haven't reviewed it. So take that as you will. I'm not sure what to offer up. Maybe Bangs can say whether or not. My hamster is sick and I'm really sad. She is also 4 years old and most hamsters only live to be 2 or 3. Hint shrimp, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah,
Best of luck
That's
to
a
your
win,
hamster.
though. That's a win, though. I mean, you've already gotten more time than most do, I guess.
Yeah.
With a
Best
hamster.
of luck to your hamster. Hopefully everything's good, brother. Bangs, did the UMC price drop? Yeah, I'm guessing. Ken McCone, the P4 works on an Android phone too. Just bought 2i2. Love it.
There are several that are good for it.
Yeah, the P4 doesn't work with, that doesn't have high Z. It doesn't. I know.
Yeah, no, I'm not debating.
It's just XLR because it's only podcast.
Yeah.
Mrs. Wolf is coming to stream? No, sadly not. I think Bangs really likes my wife.
You're never going to hear it in the end of it now.
Oh, no,
have to be here.
I'm going to be utilizing her as much as I can for mic reviews because I feel like I've been looking through the mic industry on YouTube, and the one thing that's missing is...
Women? Yeah. It's true.
Any kind of women going, this is what the microphone sounds like on my voice.
Yeah, and you're right. That's an untapped market.
And I've had a lot of women reach out to say, hey, what's the best mic for my voice? And I'm like, I don't freaking know. So having my wife, she's got a fairly mid-range voice. She's not.
Yeah, she's got kind of an alto voice.
Yeah, she's not too squeaky. She's not too bellowy. And so that's a good, if you.
Bellowy.
Until she's mad. Just say that.
Oh.
Curtis Judd is an exception to that. Yes, Curtis does get female voices in. That is the one exception. He does that in the pod. We use this in a podcast, and this is what it sounded like. I've only ever watched his interface videos. I've never watched one of his mic reviews. So, to be fair. Hinter Shrimp says, thanks, guys. You're welcome, dude. Yeah, no. We have a really old dog. I fully understand the loss of a dog and how much that sucks, buddy. Any kind of pet. Yeah.
They become the member of a family, right?
Yeah.
It's like losing a sibling.
Yeah, no, that's one of those painful things. So, moving on from the interface chat, we'll wait for some chat to fill in here. I do have a membership join button coming soon to the channel. I'll be doing a video up for it. I'm starting out with just a basic button where you can support the channel, and what I wanted to do with that is because we've been talking about doing live streams and like member only live streams and stuff like that. I've been doing a lot of research. The one thing I want to make sure is that if there is something like that rolled out, that it's not a negative to not be a member, so you can still be part of this channel, be part of the conversation without being a member. I didn't want it to penalize people for not.
The hell
paying
was
me.
that?
That's a dog upstairs. Don't. I know. I have a lot of soundproofing in the roof, but I mean, dude's 140 pounds.
Dude's 100, yeah.
Yeah, he's a big boy. So, with this membership button is what I'm going to do is I'm going to take stock. So the other option is I was going to roll out, the first one. Join button, then you can just support the channel, and then the second one has a members only live stream. And then I realized if we do that and we only have one person sign up for that, I'm doing a one person member only live stream, which also is kind of one of those like, well, so I want to see what kind of interest there is in the membership for the first rollout, and then we can move beyond that. If anyone has any kind of the missus has a great Baby Shark singing voice. Thanks, Wolf. I got to get that out of my head before tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Oh
That's,
no, yeah, my ma's. But he only brought it up because my ma's been singing it for like the last, eternity. Oh, shut up! Shut
there
up!
it is.
Shut up!
We just got demonetized.
yeah, right. Immediately.
So once again, this is going to be one of those feedback things. If people are like, "Hey, this is cool, love to support," and there's enough interest that, like, yes, a members only live stream would be awesome, and it doesn't detract from what the channel is for people that aren't paying. That is the biggest thing I want to make sure.
Yeah, there's not going to be any pressure. It's
Yeah.
Ultimately we're just trying to do this so that Aiden can get like a consistent revenue from this.
Yeah. Because I'm out of work in January, so this is...
well, and you're going to be spending full time on this, and if it doesn't make enough money, it's going to be hard to warrant the full time.
Yes, and that's the other thing. So like it's kind of a support, kind of a hey, and then if we can move beyond that, that'd be great. Now I'm gonna get back to chat because I have a feeling stuff's happening. Frank, my most valuable guitar is a classical Manuel Rodriguez Brazilian rosewood back and sides, African ebony board, cedar neck top, came from a fallen tree in Alcazar Palace, Spain. Wood's over 100 years old. Holy crap.
That's intense.
And it sounds like you're banging it off a tree. Okay.
Yeah. That's it. Like I've done that. I've played some guitars that are made from really prestigious materials, and like I pick them up and I'm like, wow, this is uninspired. Like I'm not saying they're all like that, but like I have seen like a lot of guitars that, especially like that are marketed like, oh, this tone wood is very archaic tone woods is, and then I pick it up, I'm like, well, it plays like shit. It sounds kind of neat, but it plays like shit.
I watched the videos on Spectre Sound Studios did on whether or not tone woods actually matter, and full on scientific, and nope. And he's pissed a lot of
in the
people
context of electric, they don't. In an acoustic, they absolutely do. And in electric, they don't.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm mixing the two. I will have to. The best guitar I've ever played, by a long shot, was we have just north of Ottawa in Chelsea, Quebec. They have a place that builds guitars, and there was a $15,000 custom-made guitar that wasn't picked up by a guy, and it was sitting in a guitar store. And they let me sit down with it for about half an hour and play around with it. The most incredible experience playing a guitar I've ever had in my life. The bloody thing damn near played itself. Is Dylan running the AC hard? I'm guessing he is.
I was. I'm not anymore.
Oh, you turned it off?
Yeah.
Oh, are you cold?
Well, I mean, I am up on a 7th floor, and it is like 28 degrees here right now. So
yeah, it
gets warm really fast.
Yeah.
Plus, I'm in a room with a bunch of breathing technology.
Central AC is gorgeous, isn't it?
I got a bunch of tube preamps beside me, just radiating my leg.
Yeah, that's fair. It's all good. I don't complain. If anyone else wants to complain, once again, Dylan's address will be posted at the end of the show.
I'll get the baseball bat ready.
Chat disconnected. Successfully connected. Oh, that was weird.
I didn't see that.
Frank says, sounds beautiful and loudest classical ever heard. It's old and very light. I can imagine the very light. That makes a lot of sense. Mike, chat's just disconnecting. Maybe we've upset the YouTube gods.
It's staying fine for me.
I'll just keep saying chat disconnected, please wait. Successfully connected. Chat disconnected, please wait. Successfully connected.
So when as the person with the stream, like, how are you seeing the chat? Are you actually in the view window, or like if you hit refresh right now, what happens?
Well, it depends. So there's live chat, and actually I haven't been following the live chat, which is something I should. I follow the top chat, which wait, Canadians keep their dogs where? Roof attic, Ms. Ravioli. No, I'm just in a basement, just so you know. There's no dogs on the roof. Us Canadians are roof dogs.
Roof Dogs. That's a good band name, the Roof Dogs.
The Roof Dogs. I do like that. Ken says, crank up the AC, Dylan. Screw Bangs.
I saw that. I was very loud.
Ken and Bangs going to be fighting after the stream, I think.
Oh, yeah. There's going to be some fisticuffs going on.
Yeah. You know what? I will from here on out. I'll keep on the actual live chat instead of on the top chat. I don't necessarily know what the difference is. I'm not.
I think top chat just weeds out some crap. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, but the whole point of this is I don't want crap weeded out. I want to talk to people.
Maybe that's why you didn't see Bangs' link that he put
No,
up,
I did end up checking live chat for that.
Okay.
There was no link. He emailed it, or they emailed it to me, so all is good. If that said, if I've missed somebody's chat over the past, my apologies. It looks like I might have been missing some chat because Ms. Ravioli just popped up and so did Ken. So,
well, I was seeing them in top chat. So I don't know. I don't know. YouTube's weird about the way they do stuff like that. It's not predictable.
Well, this is also why, like, at some point I would like to have a moderator for chat. Like I've already talked of my class. I was mentioning that, like my first big purchase for this station or for this channel, would be like social media person.
Yeah,
social media. Social media website would be 110% the first thing I would hire. Before I did anybody to edit my videos, that kind of stuff doesn't matter, but social media is massive.
Oh, it's just such a pain in the ass.
I don't have time. I want to launch my website and I just don't have time.
No, especially you got to keep on it. You got to be consistent. You got to be doing stuff every day on it.
Well, I want every video to have its own webpage. So I'd want like every video you can refer back. I would like to have voiceover because the one thing I do offer up right now that not a lot of people know of is I can be hired for voiceover. So if you need a voice for your project, and I do probably about 10 or 12 a month. And I don't charge very much for podcasters. I charge like $50 for a read for podcasters.
Yeah.
But I don't have any website for that to go to. I just have
he
that
also
email.
doesn't take direction very well. Keep that in mind.
Shut up.
Oh, those were fun days, weren't they? Those demos. Those are great.
I take direction well. We got one good demo out of that.
I still have the blooper reel from one of them I was listening to the other day, like the news talk one. That was
nice.
Funny shit.
Well, because we did the rock version. Do you have any of those bloopers kicking around?
Oh, absolutely.
I do. Feel free. I do have I know the rock version we did. We did that distance, right?
I think you tracked it at your end, and then because if we had done clean feed, which in retrospect would have been amazing, because then I still could have like coached and then recorded it here, and then but we didn't have that at that time because it may have existed. It's just not something that it was on our radar.
No, it definitely didn't come on radar until the pandemic. That's for sure.
Pretty much last year, yeah.
Frank says, I played once with a bloke who mortgaged his house to buy a new old 1959 Les Paul from Gibson Vault. Played horrible. My Epiphone Les Paul played and sounded better.
Yes.
I have my father-in-law's best friend owns a 59 Gibson Les Paul. I played it, and I had to clean my underwear afterwards. It was delightful. He actually, the guy's one of these brilliant, he wound his own pickups, all that stuff. It was just such a gorgeous experience.
Is that your father-in-law or
father-in-law's best friend?
That's the one that like makes his own transformers and stuff,
yes.
right? Yeah. I remember we were talking about
my father-in-law does as well. But this guy's was for the longest time the head of the audio head for IMAX worldwide. So he's the one that set up all the audio systems in every IMAX across the world. So he's the one that designed the IMAX audio experience. And everything like that was his baby. And he's just a ridiculously, stupidly intelligent guy.
Don't you hate those people?
Named Janet. Oh, I don't hate them. I rely on them.
Because you know, it doesn't matter what you do. You're never going to hit that mark.
Well, no, like I obviously don't have the capacity for that. Like the guy is just stupid smart. However, I like to keep those because you can rely on those people. If you ever have a question, they can answer almost anything.
And they can give you accurate information.
All right, we got Bangs saying moderators and me don't get along. They have no sense of humor.
But wait, aren't you a moderator?
No. Well, on Reddit, Bangs is a moderator for podcasting, if I recall.
Bangs doesn't get along with himself.
No, because my first interaction was when I was posting videos on Reddit, And Bangs was like, dude, you can't do that. I never claimed to have a sense of humor. Fair enough. So you and your kind don't get along. I gotcha. Are you still looking for that audio?
Oh, no, I found I'm emailing you.
Oh, nice. I make my own fuzzes, use old stock military components, don't sell them, just use them. That's kind of cool. I wish I had the time to, and that's not like a shot. I do wish I actually had the time to be able to tinker as much as I want to. Like, I would love to start making pedals.
They're not hard. A lot of the
They're
basic
super
necessities.
simple. Like,
especially distortion pedals and stuff, like any kind of saturation is. It's so easy to do that most people do it without even wanting to.
Aiden.wolfray or Aiden.wolf at gmail or Aiden.wolf.mornings or AidenWolfMornings at gmail.com, I take it.
What is happening?
The email you
I'm
sent
sending
him
it
to.
your Dark Corner Studios.
Oh, okay.
Aiden Wolf Mornings at Gmail. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you had it's in my directory as Dark Corner Studios, so I just figured the email was something like that. But
yeah, it's not in yet.
no, I literally just hit send.
Oh, thanks, man. You said you already sent them.
No, I said
God
I'm
of
going
Metal.
emailing them.
Sup, people? How's it going over here?
What up?
God of Metal. I would like one of the things the few things that I want to develop. I want to develop my own presets and VST plugins. That's one of the first things that I would like to develop. I would like to
getting
develop.
into coding. He's getting into coding. That is a mathematically oriented world, my friend.
I need to find a coder that I do have some friends that do coding, and it's a matter of like finding friends that are willing to like, hey, this is something
mess around. Yeah.
Well, no, that like split profits, right? Like that's
but initially, it's probably not going to lead to profit initially because you're competing with a lot of big players in the game.
Well, yeah, but I mean the same thing goes when you look at someone like Peter McKinnon buying his LUT packs. Yeah, LUT packs are big.
Yeah, you could do the audio version of that, but plugins. I mean, you'd probably be better off like designing stock presets in Adobe, like for the Adobe stock tools that everybody has, and then selling those.
But that's just like, here's my presets. There's no actual file preset that you can design, is there? You're just giving a person a file that has.
Yeah, you're selling them a file with your presets in them. There's lots of people that do that.
Really?
Oh yeah. There's a market for. Well, it's the same thing as like photographers selling filters for Lightroom. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, like Fronos has a lot of those filters actually look pretty good in Lightroom, but like he sells kits of those, and all they are is just preset develop settings. You could get all those yourself. Like you don't need to buy them, but I guess if you want a shortcut from somebody who knows what they're doing to some degree.
Unusual Audio. I've spent the last few days learning how to develop plugins. It's a lot of fun. I've built LUFS meters and a compressor.
LUFS.
Yeah. I don't spell things out. I'm sorry. I've always said it that way, and I'm never going to stop. Compressor that doesn't work properly yet. That's cool.
Compressors and EQs, as much as they're the fundamental component, designing one from scratch in the digital domain, it's actually easier to build an analog EQ than it is to make a software EQ from scratch. Honestly,
interesting.
There's a lot of math involved in software EQ work.
I can imagine. No,
those programmers don't mess around.
Yeah, no kidding.
Especially when you've got like a dynamic EQ plugin that's a compressor and an EQ at the same time. Like
maybe I should look at developing some presets then for Reaper, Audacity. I don't know if that'd be worth. Who is buying?
I mean, it's hard because there's so many presets that come with plugins, and on top of that.
The presets that come with most are shite. The presets that come with Adobe Audition are not that great.
I'm more talking about like in the Pro Tool Pro Tools rig, but like the professional utilities. I agree. The ones in like even the plugins themselves, the hard limiter in Adobe is garbage.
Oh, absolutely.
I have a visceral hatred for the hard limiter. It mangles. It is the least attractive limiter I've ever used. If you literally need to take a buzzsaw and cut off the top of your waveform, then use hard limiter. Otherwise,
well, basically. Oh, I get podcasts in through my podcast class. I can't tell you how many audio sausages I looked at over the past week of people just basically hard limiting the what? There's nothing left.
No.
It's just a sausage.
I always just tell people, just sculpt your own limiter using the Dynamics plugin. You're going to get way more control, and your your ratio is not going to be 10,000 to 1.
Yeah.
Like
Ken says moderators are human algorithms, humorless and lacking in appreciation of sarcasm. That's fair. I haven't met any moderators. I don't piss people off on the internet though. Like
I'm kind of a lone wolf. I don't spend enough time in online communities to get into tussles with moderators.
I did piss a guy off today on my own channel, but I guess I'm the moderator of my own channel, so I'll talk about that in a second. I made the audio plugin for current Project 64 Nintendo 64 emulator. Tried making a DAW plugin. It was hard. I failed. That's amazing.
Again, you tried.
That's awesome.
That's a win. Most people would never have tried.
Ken says, tell Dylan to kiss your ass, Aiden, damn audio files. No, you know what?
I'm not really an audiophile, actually. That's the funny thing.
You know what I've got to say is from when it comes to audio, when it comes to like, I've dealt with a lot of people. Like when I put out the video for all of the explaining audio, the basics of audio, I knew that people were going to come at me. I don't care. I don't
you either go too deep and you piss off the people that don't know what the hell you're talking about, or you go too shallow and you piss off the pedantics.
Yeah, and a lot of pedantics, I really don't care. I don't care if you want me to say LUFS or LUFS. I don't give a shit because in my day-to-day, it matters zero. Again, what most people say.
I'm so used to LUFS, working in broadcast on the content creation side. We talk about that every day.
Yep.
More LKFS, but same diff.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't affect me in the least. If somebody's like, "Well, it's got to be something else." Cool.
No, I just love trolling people.
Yeah, that's fine. I also
that's fine.
Well, no, ASIO. I've always said ASIO. I know ASIO. Because it's...
I say ASIO, and I know people that say ASIO.
Yeah, and because they're all capitalized.
The one that really pisses me off, I got to go on a mini rant here.
All right.
GIF. GIF and GIF. Yes, because it's called Giraffic Interchange Format.
Oh, I'm just waiting for somebody to hit up the comments on this one.
Someone is going to. Yeah. Someone is totally going to.
Bang says, as he turns up his AC, nah, Dylan and I are good. We can insult each other to a degree. Oh, yeah. We're good.
We're dudes. We rip each other. That's what dudes do.
Unusual audio. A lot of commercial plugins are basically example code with carefully chosen value ranges, defaults, and good UI design.
Oh, yeah. A lot of it is UI. If a plugin is designed well, people will buy it.
If it looks
good. For example, iZotope plugins, sound-wise, they're nothing special.
No.
I have a lot of iZotope plugins, and I have extensively used them. Compared to some of their FabFilter or Waves counterparts, you can't compare them. That said, they don't sound bad, and their flexibility, the way that they work, is very efficient as far as user experience. So, that's a tip. If you're gonna make a plugin, make sure it looks good.
Luff's ass. You missed an opportunity to correct your problem, Aiden. Thank you. Sarcasm. I've heard of this concept. I disapprove. That's Bangs. Of course. I am in the shallow end of the pedantic pool.
Who says this? Who said
Bangs.
that?
That's Bangs.
Bullshit.
Of course
bullshit.
It's Bangs.
Bullshit. That's bullshit.
GIF is peanut butter. Thank
end.
you, Ken. GIF is peanut butter. Retro preset packs are stupid. Sorry. Different rooms, different input, different results. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I've always said that but I will say this, presets are always a good starting point.
Yes.
And in many cases, presets are better than starting from scratch.
Yes.
I use presets and templates all the time because as pedantic and tweaky as I am, I don't want to do the same thing 6,000 times. I want to get in the ball. Like, for example, my voice. I'm on one of 4 mics at any given point in time. It's always the same 4 mics. It's always in the same rooms. My voice might change. If I'm recording in the morning, I might tweak it as opposed to in the afternoon. But there's always some tweaking, and I'm always starting from the same jumping off point. Yep. And I think the same is true with any just preset philosophy in general.
Yeah, and I have presets already loaded in. I completely torched my computer and rebuilt it. I had to redo all the presets, which means I'm going in, starting with the one preset, the male voice or whatever it is, and then I start tweaking because it's actually not that far off what the preset is. Because the preset's there for a particular reason. The roll off from 60 hertz, all the same stuff.
Right,
so.
there's lots of things with presets in general. Like I see this a lot with photographers, and Aiden, you can relate to this. But when people talk about Lightroom, there are certain photographers that will take a slew of shots from a scene, same scene, and they'll develop one of the pictures, and they'll apply those developed settings to the rest of the ones in that stack.
Yep.
And they'll go in and make little tweaks, and they'll highlight certain things. And then there's other photographers that are like, no, you got to start from scratch every picture, man. That's not the way. That's cheating. They're cheating. It's like, it's also really inefficient. You're getting paid.
Who works more? Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting paid the lump amount. Like, actually, leads me to a side point. I saw a video yesterday, and I don't know if this guy's a quack or not, but in this one video, he brought up a good point. I'd never seen his content before, but he was in a room talking about like logo design stuff. And his rate was $18,500 per logo. And one of the people in, I don't know if it was a class or if it was a group of investors or something, asked him, is like, well, what's your hourly rate? Like what, how many hours do I get for that, basically? And the guy was like, he kind of dove into it, and he was like, well, he's like, so you value time more than money. He's like, so I could take 4 months to do this, and you owe me $36,000.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, well, yeah, I guess so. And he's like, so if I'm really efficient and I'm really good at what I do, and I make my logo really fast, like it takes me an hour to do it, I'm getting penalized because I'm efficient.
Well, and that's the thing. And that was the one of the best lines I've ever heard is, you're not paying for my time to do your content. You are paying me for the time it taught me how to do your content that fast.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So if I can produce a video in 2 hours and have a video at your footstep in 2 hours, that doesn't mean I did a shitty job. It means that I've learned enough that I can do that quality of video in that amount of time, and that's what you're paying me for.
Oh yeah, like I had somebody push back on me this week because they wanted to track a vocal quickly for like a cover song with a backing track and stuff, and it was kind of a buddy of a buddy, so I was like, okay, they're like, how much is it going to cost? So I said $100, and he's like, ooh, that's steep, man. I'm like, have you ever worked with a vocal producer before?
Oh, that there's steep there, buddy. I don't know.
Well, and he's like, well, what's your hourly? And I'm like, I'm not charging you for the hours. I'm charging you for the use of the facility. I'm charging you for however much time it takes me. You're going to be recording on a $4,000 mic, buddy, and you're going to be recording with somebody who has like 20 years of experience in the game. Yep. So that's what you're paying for. And if $100 to you for that seems too steep, we're not going to do business together. Nope. Like, bye-bye.
Nope. By the way, they're still arguing about GIF or GIF.
I see that, yeah. I started this. I take full responsibility.
And this is why no one can have live chat. You see what you did here? Anyways, well over an hour. Thanks, guys, for joining. Appreciate the support, appreciate the conversation as always. Also, Frank, welcome to the live streams.
Welcome.
I believe I said that already, but it's always nice to see a new face, new people popping into chat. That's what I like about this.
Yeah.
So
and thanks for joining there, Miss Ravioli. I don't think we've seen you in a while.
Oh yeah, Ms. Ravioli. Always welcome. I don't know if I have a feeling we're background noise for some people, which is cool. I mean, if you want to put us on and just do something else.
Especially, I think during COVID where people are kind of generally lonely to begin with.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice little thing to just have a beer on a Friday.
We'll be your couch buddies. We'll sit back, have a beer with you on Fridays. That's cool.
Oh, yeah.
Unusual Audio says, as long as you don't say WAV instead of wave. But that's the point. That's the point of all of this stuff, right? Like, I mean, technically it is WAV because there's no E on the end to make the A long.
No, but it is short for wave, and the reason, I mean, now because file extensions can have 4 digits, they could technically change it to a .wave file.
Yeah.
But back when the format was, back when the sort of the BWF standard was conjured up, they couldn't do that. That was back when, when you were labeling a floppy disk. Wow, I'm dating myself. When you're dating a floppy disk and you had to label the floppy disk, and it made you, because it assumed you were only going to put one file on the floppy disk, so you had to label it the file name.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Frank says, I'm from Southeast UK, Kent, 20 miles from London. I actually have friends there.
Cool. You're 20 miles from me. Oh, different London. Right.
Yeah, different London.
Yep.
8.3, that's what Bang says. I'm not exactly sure what 8.3 means. But cool. I'm guessing that's something
eight
you
letters
refer-
and then 3 letters.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I'm pretty sure that that was the nomenclature back in the era
All right.
of that shit.
Thanks for joining the live stream. Sorry for the week off last week, guys. It was all Dylan's fault. Hate mail sent to Dylan. That's fine. And we'll see you in the
Throw
next
it
one,
at me.
guys. Cheers. Have a great weekend.
Cheers.